What if I told you we could be on the verge of another actors or writers strike? Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it could happen. Because I just learned the news that SAG-AFTRA is heading back to the negotiating table with the AMPTP. I thought about making this video because I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, and I feel like it should be talked about because there are a lot of concerns that need to be addressed. There are negotiations happening about important things in the entertainment industry. But if you don't know, if you're not aware, SAG-AFTRA stands for Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Video Artists. So an AMPTP stands for Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. And what these guilds are for are to make sure actors and directors and writers all have rights just like you and me. And last year there was a strike that lasted 118 days, and it feels like the industry is still kind of recovering from the last one. And I feel like personally, if there is another strike, could either end the industry or just have really big effects. I don't know if anyone else can feel it, but it feels like we're just now almost done recovering from the last strike. Both sides have new leadership. SAG-AFTRA has a new president, Sean Astin, who I know from Stranger Things as Bob Newby. He was also in The Goonies and I think 50 First Dates. But he said he'll bring a respectful and responsible tone to the table. Then on the studio side of things, Greg Hessinger replaces longtime AMPTP negotiator Carol Lombardini, and Hessinger is also a former SAG executive director with deep ties to union leadership. And these are going to be main topics and issues that they're going to have to discuss. And the first thing we have to talk about is AI and what they're calling the Tilly tax. In 2023, after when the strikes were happening, there were deals to protect creators from AI. And with how much AI has progressed, it's already looking like they were written like a decade ago. Because in AI years, they kind of were. And there's this new pitch where if the studio uses a likeness or uses a fake or generated performer instead of a real actor, the studio has to pay a royalty into the union's pension, which will provide actors with like a regular type of like income, I guess, and also health funds. The royalties will go to a pension and health funds for actors in the union. And again, the name Tilly tax comes from the name of Tilly Norwood. The second biggest issue is streaming residuals, where in 2023 we saw kind of a success or when a show hits a viewership threshold that was like 20% of platforms domestic subscribers in its first 90 days. That's when the bonus would be paid out, which was projected to be $40 million annually, but it has been a lot less than that. And this metric that they negotiate on is so hard to hit. Theoretically, no show could ever qualify if viewership is spread across enough series. From what I'm reading, it seems like there's going to be talks to rework that negotiation into something like ranking based, so that the top performing shows like let's talk about Netflix, Wednesday, Stranger Things, if they're the top performers, then those shows will trigger a payout. And then going back to health and pensions, it's possible that the AMPTP, which are the studios and the producers, could ask for record contributions in exchange for a 5-year contract instead of the 3 years that was given. And this is something that the DGA president, Christopher Nolan, has already pushed back on, noting that a 5-year deal signed in March 2020 would have aged like milk. And then another thing is exclusivity, where streaming shows now go years between seasons, and series regulars are usually locked into options where they're waiting to hear if they're even picked up for next season or waiting for like when they're supposed to shoot, leaving a lot of actors unable to book movie roles and just other projects. So the 2023 deal raised the exclusivity pay threshold significantly, but the reality is that no like secondary like show or movie wants to cast someone who could potentially have a complicated schedule as is. And so this is something that could come up again in these negotiations. I'm saying this as someone who loves movies, who loves TV shows. My page is all about horror movies, but I love all types of movies. I love musicals, I love animation, I love superhero films, I watch all types of movies. Like, I'm a big movie person. My favorite genre is horror. There is a real chance that these talks won't come out with a deal, but like if they don't make a deal, I'm afraid for what will happen to the industry, because if not, then in June there's going to be another strike. The Writers Guild contract expires May 1st. Then the DGA, the Directors Guild, supposedly they're in talks to start negotiating in May. Their contract expires June 30th, alongside SAG's. Nobody wants a repeat of what happened in 2023, but SAG hasn't ruled out a strike if it comes to that. Hopefully we get some progress. Hopefully we hear some good stuff about what happens with this. I'm hoping for the best, but let me know what you think about this, because at the end of the day, if both sides want to work together, there has to be a compromise. And I feel like, as someone who's against AI, I feel like I'm really scared for like what's going to come from this, and like what they're going to negotiate, because at the end of the day, AI in the entertainment industry is the same as like a man who loves money buying a restaurant, but he doesn't like to cook. If he loves money and he's just in it for the money, he doesn't like to cook and he sucks at cooking, he's not gonna make any money from that. It's gonna be slop. It's gonna be bad. That's how I feel it is with AI. I do think there are some things that AI is good for, but when it comes to generative AI and AI replacing work and replacing a person's ability to do something like that, that's where I draw the line. Let me know what you think about all this down below, and don't forget to like and follow.